Callum Ilott and Hertz Team JOTA have ended day one of the WEC's Prologue test fastest. Ilott set a 1:40.571 early on in the 5-hour nighttime session 2, which saw all 37 cars take to the track for the first time. And it was no fluke by JOTA, as teammate Jenson Button was third fastest on a very strong day for the Porsche customer team. Being one of just 2 hypercar teams to run in session 1 will certainly have helped things, but with over 300 laps in total and the fastest time in each session, there will be smiles in the JOTA camp tonight. Ferrari AF Corsa ended the day 2nd and 4th, with Antonio Fuoco just over a 10th off the quickest time, and both cars doing over 100 laps. Cadillac Racing ended up 5th thanks to Alex Lynn, ahead of YFA in the privateer Ferrari. Mikael Jensen was 7th fastest for Peugeot, although his 93 car did stop on track early on with Jean-Eric Verne at the wheel. The first of the Penske Porsches was 8th in the times thanks to Michael Christensen, ahead of the top BMW in 9th place, Marco Wittmann doing the business for them. For Ferrari, Cadillac, Penske and BMW, I can just copy-paste the same feedback. They all had a solid day banking laps, with a decent pace and no obvious errors. Toyota Gazoo Racing ended the day down in 13th and 16th, but won't be concerned as in typical Toyota fashion, they completed the most laps of anybody. Car 8, the quicker of the two, did 138 laps, 11 more than anyone else. Proton Competition had a bit of a nightmare day, with all 3 cars in trouble. We'll touch on their GTs later, but in the hypercar Harry Tincknell stopped on track at one point to bring out the second of 3 red flags. The first red was caused by a GT car, the last because a cat wandered onto the circuit. Lamborghini Iron Lynx also ran into a problem, as Eduardo Mortara stopped on track, and the Racing Bull ended the day 15th in times. Alpine Endurance Team was 17th and 18th, but with all their drivers within half a second of one another, were clearly focusing on race runs. And after issues in session 1, Isotta Fraschini had a cleaner run in session 2, although they did experience an oil leak and round out the times in 19th overall. In LMGT3, Gregoire Sauce was quickest for United Autosports and McLaren, although 15 drivers ended up within a second of him. Davide Rigon was 2nd for Vista AF Corsa, ahead of Lexus's Esteban Masson. The star of the timesheets was Heart of Racing's Ian James, a bronze-ranked driver who ended up 4th quickest. Mantime may have ended up near the bottom of the times, but they banked the most mileage of anyone in GT, with both cars easily breaching the 100 lap mark. This is despite Alex Malikin earning them 15 minutes of stop-go penalties for track limits offences. He wasn't alone in catching the attention of the stewards on this front, with every car having laps deleted, and lots of drivers going to need to clean up their act come race day. Several LMGT3 cars ran into issues. Thomas Fleur put out the early red flag by stopping on track. The 81 Corvette, 777 Aston Martin and both United McLarens lacked laps, and the pair of Proton Ford Mustangs took over 2 hours to appear onto the track. Tomorrow, the Prologue comes to an end with 6 more hours of running. Session 3 starts at 10 AM local, that's 7 AM UTC, and is a 3-hour session for all 37 cars. After a 1-hour lunch break, the final 3-hour session takes place. This one reserved for those who didn't do session 1 earlier today, which is 16 hypercars and 12 LMGT3s. The Prologue is not broadcast on TV, so subscribe to my channel and follow my Twitter for all the updates from the action. Overall, both hypercar and LMGT3 look wide open at the end of day 1 here in Qatar, but the headlines belong to Callum Ilott and Hertz Team JOTA.